Hi, and welcome to Random Fandom FC, the podcast where each week I meet a new fan and explore how they came to support their team, what's been their highest high, their lowest low, and anything else I should know. We look ahead to their next game and get a prediction, and then next week we'll check in to see if we were a blessing or a curse to the teams that we follow. My name's Rob, an Arsenal fan living in the States, and I'll be your host. Okay, last week we were following the mighty Imps, also known as Lincoln City FC. We were exceptionally lucky to have Simon give us a match report live from the match after Bristol Rovers that they'd won 5-0. This weekend they were at home again playing against Exeter, and he's at it again. Over to our roving reporter Simon, live from Sinsel Bank.
Sinsel Bank was not as bright as last week, but also not as cold. A rain shower before the match couldn't dampen spirits, with both Lincoln and Exeter fans drumming and chanting with enthusiasm as the match got underway. Lincoln started brightly and already had a series of corners before Bordy O'Connor only just headed over on 15 minutes. Exeter played brightly in spells, but on 30 minutes, Whitworth in the Exeter goals was rightly booked for time wasting. Tempers flared, and having already been booked for dissent, journeyman Exeter striker McGuinness was lucky to stay on the pitch on 40 minutes after a crunching tackle. In injury time in the first half, it was left to the woodwork to spare Exeter's blushes, but despite going into the break goalless, City would be the happier of the two teams. Both teams again started the second half brightly, but it took until 58 minutes for Lincoln to have a chance that really got the home crowd off their feet. Sadly, it wasn't scored and the game remained goalless. Entering the last 10 minutes of the game, the scores were still tied, despite Lincoln having had the better of the chances. Exeter thought they had scored just as the match reached 90 minutes, but the goal was rightly chalked off for handball. The Exeter manager didn't agree and got a red card for his protestations. And that was how the match ended. Overall, an entertaining match where Lincoln had the better chances, but ultimately both teams had to settle for a share of the points.
Thanks for doing that again, Simon. Really appreciate that. And now for something slightly different on Random Fandom this week. Well, hang on a minute. That's not the normal music. It's not a normal episode this week. Got a few guests lined up to come on and talk about their teams, but they couldn't do this week. And it's an off week anyway in the Premier League and the Championship and all that kind of stuff. So thought England are playing. Let's do an episode talking about what it's like to support England. So I've got my friend from this side of the pond, John, who came on to talk about Liverpool a few weeks back. We're going to indulge ourselves in the trials and tribulations of being an England fan. So welcome back, John. Pleased to see you again.
Pleased to see you. And there's a lot more trials than there are tribulations, surely.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point probably doing the origin story because I assume, like me, you were just born into it. There's no choice, right? It's just
no choice.
No choice. That's just, you get what you get. So I was just kind of looking back. Oh man, where do we want to start? I think we have to start with the lows. And we'll do this interactive. This isn't going to be me talking to you all episode. This will be again a bit of break from the norm of normal episode. Feel free to ask me anything as well. But let's start with first England memory. What's the first kind of either tournament or game you kind of remember? Because me and you are pretty much the same age, right? So maybe we've got sort of similar.
You're a tad bit older. You know, let's make a note of that. On the record, please.
Okay, it's on the record.
I think I remember the Brian Robson, but I don't remember it as a complete tournament. That would be sort of 1982. That tournament, or 84, I think it is.
Wow.
But my first one that I remember was the World Cup 1986.
Okay, same. That's where I was going as well. Mexico 86. And it's one of those weird ones where I know I've got sketchy memories. I couldn't even tell you what the group stages were. But I know I remember watching the Argentina game.
Well, I do you know what, bizarrely, I remember the Poland game more distinctly than anything in that tournament, because Gary Lineker scored a hat trick, and he was wearing he like must have done something to his wrist because he was wearing that bandage on his wrist, and I went to school in a bandage on my wrist for the next 9 months, feigning injury. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I remember we needed to beat. We had a bit of a dodgy start to the group. That's all I kind of really remember. And I went back and kind of looked at it. So we hadn't really done too well, and we had to win that group game to get through.
Mm.
And so we kind of got through there. Um, but yeah, I remember sitting and watching that Argentina game, and I was absolutely convinced because we smashed. I had to look this up. I know we got through easily the round of 16, but I couldn't tell you who it was. So it was Paraguay we beat 3-0.
Okay.
Um, and then it was Argentina. And I don't know what your memory of that game is, but I'm as an adult now, I can look back on it and I can recognize the brilliance of the second goal Maradona scores. Absolutely worldy goal, and I can look back and admire that now. At the time, I was still raging from the whole hand of God. I mean, I just that was it. I was in a spiral. I don't even remember seeing most of the rest of the game because I was just so angry.
I felt the same way, absolutely the same way. It was like it was the world's greatest ever goal, but you couldn't appreciate it because one, it was against England, but two, we'd been absolutely robbed by the referee.
I
And
know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you just these days VAR is gonna give that like immediately. Well, probably not immediately. They probably still take 10 minutes looking at it from all the different angles, but it would get ruled out these days because it was just so blatant. And an 11-year-old me just couldn't comprehend how this was fair or allowed. It's like jumped and punched it over Shilton. How?
It's the first time you realize that life isn't fair.
Especially as an England fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was just crushing. That's all I can come up. But I'm not even going to say that it's probably my lowest low. Um, but I'll ask you first. What's so? I mean, that's kind of so. Our first England memory is literally probably the same sort of tournament is Mexico '86.
Mm.
Um, we've had a lot of gut punches along the way, but
Oh
which
my
one really
God.
hits you in the in the stomach the most?
I should have expected this question, but I, they all, it's just the going out always to penalties, normally in a quarter final, sometimes in a semi final, sometimes in a final. But yeah, going out on penalties is excruciating. And they're just, I don't know. As a Liverpool fan, I love penalties. We sort of won like 14 out of 15. But England is like the worst country for penalties, isn't it? It's like the opposite record of the Liverpool club side. So yeah, it's excruciatingly painful. God, I couldn't tell you. Maybe going out to Argentina on penalties. Oh no, no, Germany, wasn't it? No, Euro '96, one of the greatest tournaments of my life. Going out to
Okay,
Germany.
so
Um,
okay, yeah, yeah, same here. So let's put a pin in that one for a minute. But yeah, the two, and they're different. One is a long drawn out lowest low, and one is that immediate gut punch. The immediate gut punch, I think, it was Italia '90, right, when we went out on penalties to Germany. Waddle and Pierce
yeah.
missed their penalties. That one, I was just so sure our name was written on it because I think David Platt had scored a last minute overhead, oh
Oh,
well, over the
Belgium.
shoulder against Belgium, right? And it just felt like, oh God, I'm going to sound like Liverpool fans all those years. This is our year. Um, and I got myself into that position that we were going to win. And yeah, penalties again when, I mean, Waddle was such a good player. And when he blazed that one, yeah, you just would have had your house on him scoring that. He was,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and Pierce, you just thought Pierce was just going to, what they say, left foot like a tractor. You just thought he was going to absolutely smash it and just take the net out the back of the goal. But,
I think it's
oh,
a traction engine rather than a tractor. But yeah.
it's whatever. It's,
Yeah.
whatever the phrase is.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
one that was the long drawn out one, the one that just still hurts to this day was not qualifying for USA '94. And I know it sounds entitled, but when you are born to support the country of England, then there comes an expectation that you're going to see every single tournament that comes along. England should qualify for every tournament. I know other nations, don't make it all the time and they really look forward to making it too. But for me growing up, England make Euros, England make World Cups. So to sit
But
there, oh,
it was almost worth missing out on American '94 just for that documentary about Graham Taylor. I think it was, can we not knock it? It was
oh,
a glorious glorious film, but yeah, it was painful, wasn't it? Which kind of makes the World Cup in 26. You know, are we going to get to USA again? You know, it would be glorious to have to bring my friends over and watch it in America again.
well, we'll get there. We'll talk about the current crop in a minute because yeah, I'm really interested to hear what you think about that at the moment. But yeah, so I think that was pretty low. We obviously had McLaren in his Wally and the Brolly, and we managed to not make it to where was it? Euro 2008. Was that a shared one? Austria and somewhere maybe.
Yeah,
Um, but we
that's
didn't go there.
that's when we finished below Russia and Croatia. I mean, that's how it gets, isn't it? Really, my God.
I
Yeah.
know. So those kind of like really hurt, but let's put that behind us because I want to go somewhere now that your eyes lit up at this as well, right? It's strange to say highest high because neither of us have watched England win anything. So that one's straight out of the gate. It's not going to be that. But but after the disappointment missing out on the World Cup, when, to quote the song, football came home, it's coming home, Euro 96, it was just an absolute brilliant summer for me. I was at university. It was my first tournament that I was legally drinking. You couldn't, 94 USA 94. We weren't even there, so I couldn't go to the pub for that one. And before that, I was too young. So at prime university with the football team in the student union, watching the games. It was just brilliant. I just absolutely loved almost everything about that tournament. What about yourself?
Oh, it was the best. I was 20 years of age, so I was in my local, the Queen's Head in Winchmore Hill. It was a beautiful pub, but we were so crammed in. They had air canisters so that we could so that we could breathe. That's how pinned up against the bar everyone was. But I mean, the atmosphere during the entire tournament was just unbelievable. A home tournament. It's one to be savoured for sure.
It is, and I might be looking through this through rose-tinted glasses of history, but just felt that we were so good in that tournament as well. We've had golden generations since, so-called golden generations on paper that have never amounted to anything, but just okay, didn't get off with a flyer. We drew with Switzerland at the beginning, but it was just the demolition of the Dutch. It was just I couldn't believe what I was seeing. That game was just one where you're just looking at everybody. You've thrown your beer in the air and it's hit the ceiling multiple times as the all the goals are going in. You're like, are we? Is this real? Are we watching this?
It did seem surreal. I still think that is the greatest England game I've ever watched. I think we just outclassed the Netherlands. We were just from the minute one all the way through. We were just unbelievable. We were
Yeah.
playing like a Brazilian team. Yeah.
It was Shearer and Sheringham at their best. It was just nice football. It was just a joy. That whole game. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing we let them get one back as for a consolation. But before that, we then had Paul Gascoigne at his outrageous best against the Scottish. I mean, that I think Lee Hendry is still looking. Or was it Colin? No, Colin Hendry. Hendry. Oh, Lee
And
Hendry was the Villa winger, right? Colin Hendry was
yeah,
the defender for Scotland,
Colin.
right?
Yeah.
So Colin Hendry is still looking over his shoulder to see where that ball's gone. Still looking for it now. Um, I still can't believe that goal after all the replays of watching it down the pub. We were all just looking at each other going, what has he just done? That is absolutely brilliant. And
It
then we
was
had the dentist chair celebration.
world class, wasn't it? And we saved the penalty in that game, right? Is that right? Is my memory
Oh,
failing me?
we may have done. I'm going to let you have that. I can't remember. So yeah, we'll say why not?
I think Scotland had a penalty, and it was saved, and then we went up the other end. I can't. This might be a classic moment of my memory failing me and mixing up games, but
I think they should have scored. I remember when oh, let's have a look. Let's see if we can
yeah,
find the match report. There we go. That's what the internet's for. Oh, this is going to take too
that
long.
flick
Yeah,
rate.
I can't remember, but yeah, the Gaza goal was just absolutely genius. And then we kind of went on through to the knockout stages, and we had Spain. We had Spain, and it was tense, and it was 0-0, and it went to penalties. So you and I, in different parts of the world, not knowing each other, then are both thinking, "Well, we're out."
So what's the next game? Yeah, it was. Yeah, we were just not expecting it, right? And I still think, is that the only penalty competition we've ever won? Or maybe there's been one more since, but
I think there might have been one more since.
yeah, that's right. There was recently, wasn't there? But yeah, it doesn't happen very often, does it? So
No,
yeah,
no,
so
and there was
that's when I thought we'd won it, when we actually got through on penalties.
yeah, and because it was David Seaman, wasn't it, with a couple of saves, guessing right, and then it all it all built up to when Stuart Pearce strode forward with that ball, and I was like, oh my gosh, here we are, 6 years on from the pain of missing it, Italia 90, and his face. I mean, Pearce was calm all the time, but you could see it in his eyes. You were like, oh no. Please don't miss this one. This is sliding doors moment for Stuart Pearce. If he misses this, he probably never recovers.
He'll be doing pizza adverts, wouldn't he? Dear, oh dear.
Oh,
But but his face when he scored, oh my goodness. That
I've
that
never
was
seen many veins pop out of someone's neck before so much. That celebrate. There was just 6 years of pent up, like,
years of hurt,
oh,
right? Yeah.
oh,
Wow.
it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Such a good tournament. And then, oh man, um, semi-finals against Germany, the old enemy. Uh, Again, like we were up real soon, weren't we? Like Shearer scored almost immediately, I seem to remember, and I just thought, this is it. We're going to cruise to this. But it's
Yeah.
never that simple
And the
with
longer the
England.
game went on, the longer the more I thought we were gonna get it. We got better and better towards the end, and Gaza was what,
If
an
they
inch
yeah,
away.
when he slid in, I still I still think he's going to put it in every time I see the replay. It's
Yeah,
just like one of those where you just think, oh, if it was either he was a little bit taller, if he'd slid earlier, if I think it was Anderton's ball in from the wing had been a little bit less pace on it.
he was wearing high
Um,
heels. Yeah,
and that was the moment, Gaza toes that in. I can't remember. Was Euro 96, was that in the era of golden goal? Would that have settled it there and then if he'd have put that in?
I think it was the first tournament where golden goal counted. I think it was.
I
It
think
was
you're
the
right,
first.
because I think when Bierhoff scored the winner in extra time, that was it. It was over.
Yeah,
Um,
it was the first tournament won on golden goal, but I think it was the first tournament that had it. Maybe I'm
and
wrong.
yeah, it was the. I mean, it's just those Germans. They're just so accurate. It was just 5 out of 5 brilliant penalties, and we did 4 out of 5 brilliant penalties, and then Gareth Southgate strolled up.
Wow. Wow. Yes. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh,
It
but it
was,
was still, even going out like that, though, I just still look back at that tournament with such fond memories
yeah, oh
of, and I
yes.
probably feel that I enjoyed that even more than what have we been to now? Two Euros finals and missing out on Italy and Spain. And what, the World Cup, was it World Cup semis when we somehow managed to conspire to lose to Croatia? I mean, technically, we kind of went deeper or better into some of those tournaments, but this one I just
Yeah,
look back at complete rose tinted glasses. Loved Euro 96.
yeah, it was by far my favorite tournament, 100%. Is that because England were great by beating, Netherlands, or was it because we were 20? I bit of both probably, right? But
Yeah, a
yeah.
little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But and then we just seem to go on just a few sort of nothings really. well, not nothing. So we just never really kind of clicked again, and we just uh, which was it? Was it France '98 where we had the Beckham kick and the Simeone getting him sent off? That was a generation that you felt should have done better than it did. Um, I think we only got through to that was the first knockout round. I think that we went out to Argentina. And
In oh
I think it was France. Was it
in
France '98 when
France '98.
Simeone ruffled Beckham's head and he did the little tiniest of kickouts and he went down like he'd been shot?
Um, was it that game? I remember that was the Michael Owen game, right?
Yeah, that was a Michael
That-
Owen
that
game when
he scored that incredible goal first, and then we were pegged back, wasn't it? And then we it was 2-2, and we went out on penalties.
yeah, we definitely held off until yeah, it was penalties that way. Yeah, yet another penalties defeat. It's like, one day we will actually
I think that that's up there with my lowest as well.
Oh
Yeah, that was
God.
poor because we looked a good team. It was another year where we were like, wow, this is like we've got an incredible team. We've had so many good teams and just not been able to do it. It's been, it's been painful being an England fan over the years, that's for sure.
Yeah, it has. I mean, 2018 was a bit of a gut punch actually, because I honestly thought that was going to be the first time I was going to see us in a World Cup final in my life. The draw had worked out quite nicely. The other semi-final was France against Belgium. We were against Croatia. There's no way we're not winning that because Croatia were rubbish because they were having to rely on old father time himself of Luka Modric, who will still be playing in another 20 years because the guy just goes on forever. And I was just like, yeah, we're going to beat these guys pretty easily. And Trippier scored after 5 minutes, and then Kane missed one that he normally scores in his sleep. But it didn't matter at that point because I thought, yeah, this is just wait for the World Cup final. Here we come. And I still don't know how we managed to conspire to lose that one.
Oh, it was awful, wasn't it? It was painful. I was in the maple tree in Simsbury. It's like a lot of people remember tournaments from where they were, like Mexico '86, but I remember from them from the pubs I was in. So typically stay in at one pub for the whole tournament. Sometimes, for some tournaments we've travelled local pubs, so we've gone to a different pub each tournament. But yeah, the maple tree there. We were convinced, absolutely convinced that we would do well against Croatia. But Modric, I mean, being a Liverpool fan, he's done the same to Liverpool in the European Cup for Madrid. But he's just such an amazing player, and they had a great game. So yeah, another one of those days that you wish you could forget.
What's your thoughts on the two finals that we've seen over the last few years? So we had um, Euro 2020 when we lost on penalties to Italy, and people say, oh, they had an easy route to the final. And I don't buy that. There's no easy games in international knockout. I mean, we put Germany out in the round of 16. Ukraine, okay, we smashed them. Denmark were probably maybe not the strongest opposition in the world. There's nothing you can do about it. You can only beat what's in front of you. And as a long-suffering England fan, I know that we quite often don't beat what's put in front of us. So I just felt that final against Italy, maybe more than the Spain one, was there for the taking, and we never really. I don't know. We seem to run out of ideas sometimes when teams play the low block against us. We just sort of we do the Arsenal of about 5 years ago. We just go sideways and backwards, and it's just so frustrating. That one really felt like one that got away. That one.
For me, both of them. But yeah, we had better chances against Italy. It's the lack of confidence in the Italy game. I feel we should have attacked more, but maybe the lack of confidence of England never being in a final um, would probably cost us. Um, I mean, it's frustrating for both. That's the argument with Southgate. He's always managed to get easy routes through to the final. But as you say, a lot of our managers they've lost against weaker opposition. You know,
Yeah.
especially who we talked. We didn't even qualify for the '94 World Cup. So you can't criticize Southgate because he's beaten everyone who we should beat. But those teams, every team we've come up against that it's 50-50 or these are a tough team. he's lost against. So it's kind of like maybe we're just lacking that little bit of tactical nous at the top level. Maybe Tuchel has got that. Maybe Southgate hasn't. Maybe that's what it was. But when you go down to penalties, I mean, it's a toss of a coin, really, isn't it? We
Yeah,
were
and it would be a nice segue to talk about kind of the current crop now. But just one point on that Spain final. I thought we were probably not going to do well against them. Spain, I just thought would turn us over pretty easily. But in credit, we had some good chances. When Palmer pulled it back, I actually, again, I get so carried away watching England. I thought momentum was now going to be on our side. That would be the killer blow to the Spanish. They should have probably put a couple on us by then. It wasn't. Somehow it's still only 1-0. Palmer makes it 1-1. This is our moment. Here we go. Redemption story from a couple of years ago. No.
no, no, no. I was in the Harp and Hound in Mystic. Shout out to Mystic. It was an unbelievable final. It was packed full of English fans, and it was a great atmosphere. Spain were a great team. They were. It was a harder looking final than Italy, and we gave a good account of ourselves. And as you say, like Palmer was in the form of his life. I mean, he's so young anyway, but he was just incredible. I thought we were going to go on to win that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I mean, so just looking back probably from early 2000s up until now, we've had a number of what people will call golden generations. Oh, this is the best team on paper that England have ever had. What's your view? Because I know, you're a coach, shout out to the travel team that have won things, Avon, woohoo. Um, why has no manager ever got a tune out of what should have been great players on paper? Is it because they've tried to just pick all the big names and then force them into a system? Or is it we just haven't had the right management? Because you can argue we've had players down the years that really should have been bringing home some silverware.
yeah, I mean, the problem with the Gerrard Scholes Lampard team, that's probably the greatest team on paper. But they were all vying for the same position. There was two centre midfield roles with three of the best central midfielders. So they were sticking, Scholes on the wing. It was just, I don't think we had the right manager at the time. I think it's more to do with, it's so hard to say, isn't it? Management, I think, down the line, I don't think we've had the greatest of managers. Probably my favourite manager was Venables, but again, that might be my bias towards the Euro '96. Um, which is why I'm pleased we got a German because they actually win things.
Yeah, I mean, be interested to see, the Tuchel era has started, and right now he's got 100% record after crushing the mighty
Uh,
Albania.
Can,
Um,
can I just say so does Sam Allardyce, by the way?
ooh, okay. What was he
Yeah.
gone in 47 seconds? Oh, gone in 47 days or whatever they did. Redid the gone in 60 seconds post to his Sam's face on it. But
But he's up there,
I
100% record.
it will be interesting to see what Tuchel does. I don't think he will try and play players just to get the names on the pitch. I think he will be a system first, and then we'll pick the players for the system. I hope. Um, it's you can't say you can't read too much into Albania. You won't be able to read too much into Latvia. Unfortunately, these games are just games that you have to win. And if you do anything but win, you get criticised and the press is on the back. And so he needs to get 6 out of 6 points. Um, but I'd be just interested to see what he does with the mentality, like you say, of the team. Like, how can he kind of bring some of that sort of just winning mentality and how to not grind results out, because I don't want England to be grinding results out, especially not in qualifying, but just see how he sets up. He's got a huge amount of talent, especially when he's got Saka back from injury. The number of kind of wingers or creative attacking players that he's got to wrap around Harry Kane is just like an embarrassment of riches. He's got Bellingham, who I rate as one of the best players at the moment in this whole setup that you probably almost want to build the team around. He's got defensive options in midfield coming out of his ears. You and I were exchanging notes on Henderson about like a good squad inclusion just to kind of bring that kind of mentality into the dressing room. But he's got, Declan Rice in there. Um, Maybe it's only towards the back we maybe look a little not as
Yeah.
blessed, but
I think England throughout the years they've always had a great centre back partnership, and maybe we haven't had the strikers or the wingers or the various reasons why we haven't done as well as perhaps we could. But the centre backs have always been, England's um, you know probably best asset in most of the tournaments. But we don't really have that. Burns was superb, but he's 32, so there's doubts over him. Maybe Gaya and Konza. I don't know. It's we really don't have the that partnership, which worries me because, as you say, a plethora of great players going forward. Probably, even too much choice going forward. And what three number tens? But but yeah, that partnership at the back, yeah, we need to sort
yeah,
that out.
I agree with you because and also, of course, I'm going to be biased and say I thought Lewis Skelly had a great game at left back, but he's only just burst onto the scene. You can't expect him to be consistent in England shirt. He's got to get his club career consistent as well before he kind of there. So he'll be a good option. But then uh, there's left backs. We used to have hundreds of them, and now I'm not so sure. There's Livramento there that I do like the look of him, but not that kind of. I don't know. I'm worried about the back four at the moment. That
Well,
um,
isn't Skelly a midfielder?
he
I
used
know,
to
I
be a
know
midfielder, but we're playing him left. We moved him to left back, and he's been playing at left back brilliantly. And he played for England when he scored on his debut against Albania from left back.
yeah.
But again, it's not really his sort of his first choice position. So yeah, I just think we're a bit starved for defensive options at the moment. I like Gaya though. I think he's a quality centre back, but there's not a lot to wrap around it there as well. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, there, there's a lot of the players like Stones is kind of at the end, and he's getting injured all the time. The Man U centre back, a bit of a calamity, isn't he? He's I think his career's over. So yeah, I mean they have to step up, but we got 16 months, which is
we have.
a long time. So
And,
hopefully
and
people emerge.
And I always wonder, one of the other challenges that you've got with the international managers that don't have as much time with them is that they're obviously all coming from these different systems that they play in their club team, but they're also coming from a different, there's yes, we've got some good English players that we can pick for a lot of positions, but across that back line, or actually even in goal, man, no, Pickford is playing all the time, but if you look across all the big teams at the moment in the Premier League that are going for the title or Champions League positions, there's not a huge amount of English defenders in any of those teams. Liverpool starting centre back pairing, neither of them. Arsenal, neither of them. City, neither of them, unless Stones kind of gets in there. It's on one hand, the foreign influx definitely, I think, raised the technical ability of everybody that played in the Premier League. But I think we've kind of sometimes suffered. And then you've got these teams that are playing almost radically different styles, whether it was kind of, the Klopp blood and thunder versus the Guardiola tiki-taki and Arteta somewhere in between, and then trying to bring them all together when you get to spend about a week with them. And say, no, forget all that. We're going to play like this today. I just don't understand how we seem to struggle with that, but other international countries seem to. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, recently it's because because the Premiership is one of the best leagues in the world, if not the best league in the world. As you say, you have that competition from the best players. So you're hardly going to get many English combinations there. So the Italians won it against us, didn't they? With I think they were 105. Their age combined. It was like ridiculous. But I mean, Colwill I think he's going to play there tomorrow. Um, but he's very young. He's not
Yeah.
getting all the starts. So yeah, I think that's going to be our biggest stumbling block for the tournament, and Tuchel needs to focus on that for for sure.
But you're confident of the tournament, though, right? Looking at this group, it would be an absolute disaster for Tuchel if we don't get out of this, right? We should beat Latvia tomorrow, which will put us on 6 out of 6. We then have Serbia and Andorra to play to round out the first game of fixtures, and then play them all again. This really should be a. I'm not going to get too overly confident. I'll get accused of being an arrogant England fan and say that it's going to be 8 out of 8 wins, but we probably slip up away to maybe say a Serbia or someone like that. But I'm expecting to top this group.
Yeah, oh, 100%. But I think that's mainly because it's a World Cup qualifying group and it's a poor group, let's be honest. So we should get to USA quite comfortably. But it's for the first time I'm looking at the squad right now, and obviously we have 16 months, and maybe it will change, but it doesn't look the best squad for me. And I've always said, oh my gosh, here we go, we're gonna win this World Cup finally, or these Euros finally, because we've always had a very talented squad, but haven't quite had the manager. And I think this is the reversal. I think this is one of the weakest squads we've got, and one of the best managers. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, hopefully you and I will get to see if we get really lucky. They get allocated to one of either the New York or the Boston stadiums. That would be absolutely fantastic, and go along and watch England on this side of the pond. But we see, like you say, 16 months, long time. Yeah. So let's look forward to Latvia tomorrow. Expecting a big win for us, and then we'll go to the next international break. So time has got the better of us, so I'm just going to say thank you very much for coming on and doing this, John. And it's coming home, baby.
It's coming home.